Hey everyone, this is the Stay Great podcast, and I am your host, the Tim Chappell. It's February, so a bunch of people, myself included, have love on their mind. If you've been following me for a few years, you know that I normally read The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman and do the assessment of what my love language is every February, but I decided to do something a little bit different this year. And instead, I read through 101 questions to ask before you get engaged by H. Norman Wright. No, I'm not going to be getting engaged anytime soon since I am single at the moment, but I love great questions. I love asking questions to others and listening to their answers. I like to take time in my day and think about my answers to deep and thought-provoking questions. So this book was really interesting. There were a lot of good questions in here that made me think, and today I'm going to share with you 5 of those 101 questions. But hey, I always recommend getting the book for yourself and reading through it. I'm just giving you a sample of the book and telling you what I found interesting so that hopefully you can apply some of these ideas or ask some of these questions in your own life or maybe to your partner or potential partner. This is an interesting exercise for me, sharing this on a podcast for whoever to listen to. I do prefer my life be a bit more private normally than this, and today I'm sharing some of my answers to these deeper questions with you, whoever may be listening out there, so that you hopefully have the courage to ask your partner or potential partners whenever the time might be appropriate for you in your life. So now let's hear a few questions that Dr. Wright has for people before they get engaged. Enjoy. So this first question here in the book, it's actually question 9 here in the book. It says, "We hear a lot today about compatibility. What does this mean to you?" And then it's got some text here to kind of spark a little bit more conversation and more thought. Compatibility means being capable of living together harmoniously or getting along well together. It means to be in agreement, to combine well. It also means blending together so a relationship enhances instead of interferes with each partner's capabilities. A couple needs to work on compatibility in all areas of their relationship. Those who become compatible have certain characteristics or skills that help them develop compatibility. They flex, stretch, adapt, and change. There's no other way. So yeah, I like that term that he uses, the blending together. That's kind of what came to mind when I think about compatibility, and what image came into my mind are two people who are dancing together as partners. So this type of flow, or two people moving or going through life as one. I like to think of the dancing analogy because in that section it talks about how partners have to flex, stretch, adapt, and change. So I think that's just spot on in what couples have to do in order to be more compatible in life and on the dance floor. That flex, stretch, adapt, and change. You know, you can't be stepping on each other's toes out there on the dance floor. There's just like this flow, like I mentioned earlier, and this oneness in movement and spirit that I think when I hear the word compatibility. So how smooth do you kind of operate and support each other, being an individual and also being a part of a couple? And how can you apply that in your life? How smooth can you operate? That's what compatibility kind of means to me. Going back to the book, this is now question 40. It says, "What was your last relationship like, and what are 3 reasons you're confident the relationship is over and you can move forward?" Interesting question, and this one is strange, I think, to share with everybody listening here, but it's good for us to get out of our comfort zones every now and then. So I will answer this. It's a little personal, but here we go. I'm here on the podcast sharing a little bit about my last relationship with everybody listening. So now, my last relationship was good, I would say. But after a good number of months, something changed within me, and I didn't feel like I could be my authentic self. And I found myself more emotionally drained instead of invigorated when I was around her. Now, I tried to fake it for about a month and a half maybe, because I thought that strange feeling would just go away and my thoughts would change back to what they were like before. Eventually, the thought just kept repeating in my head that I don't think I'm going to marry this woman, even though the relationship was going decently well, I believe. But I just kept asking, why am I still keeping this relationship going when I don't think I'm going to marry this woman? So after a while, she and I went out and we talked. I actually didn't mention breaking up, but I told her how I had been feeling for a while, and she had decided to end things, but she said it in a very vague way. I remember being somewhat confused at the end of the night. She called herself an Uber and went home, and by the time when I got home, I noticed that I was, blocked on all her social media, all that stuff. And so that's what confirmed it for me. I just kind of looked at my phone and was like, oh, okay, then I guess that was just a breakup. And that's what was the confirmation for me. And I think that was for the best for both of us. Like, this question asks about how do you move forward? So I asked myself that, how do I move forward? And typically what I do, this is kind of my standard protocol, I guess, after a breakup, is to, go through my phone, delete all the pictures, get rid of anything that's of sentimental value, all that. I do that so I don't have a relapse period and try to get back together with that person. I believe that exes shouldn't get back together. If you've been dating or in a relationship and you break up, then you break up. There's plenty of other fish out there, so no harm, no foul. It was a pretty clean breakup overall and relatively drama-free compared to other breakups that I've had. So, I wish her well. It's fine. I'm confident that I'll find somebody. I'm confident that she will find somebody. So it's all good. It just happens. It's a part of life. Breakups are hard. I just recommend that, you try to get over it and handle it, because it is a big change. It's a loss. I think there is somewhat of a grieving process to that. But think about what you do to move forward after a breakup. It's an important part of life. Going back to the book here, we've got question number 57, which is, if you were to marry, what would be the hardest adjustment a person would have to make in order to live with you? Ooh, interesting. Well, for me, I thought about this a little bit, and it's kind of a question of, why would somebody not want to live with me? To rephrase that question. And so for me, my answer would be that I think it may be a deterrent if somebody may not be able to adjust to the organized chaos of my life. I have things a particular way and set up, and maybe somebody would not want to adjust their life to those peculiarities. I'm sure that somebody would need to adjust to that and just understand that that's kind of just how I live and how I operate. Then there's also my schedule. Like, I have worked the corporate job. I've worked the Monday through Friday 9-to-5 job, and that just bores me. So I knew that wasn't for me. I know people who do that. That's their jam. Cool, great, love that for you. I don't like to be put in a box like that and to have that kind of lifestyle. And so if someone and I were to marry, it would be potentially a bother for them. The fact that, like, if I can't sleep and it's 2 a.m., I'm probably going to go to the gym, or I'm going to get up and make some coffee and I'm going to read. So that could be potentially something difficult for somebody to adjust to. Just kind of my crazy schedule and thinking of all I have to do in a day or a week or a month, something like that, where it doesn't fit into that box of the Monday through Friday 9-to-5 schedule. If they want that life, fantastic. Like I said, nothing wrong with that. It's just definitely not for somebody like me and my personality. Now, this next question I'm going to go to, this is question 82 in the book. Again, like I said, pick up 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged by H. Norman Wright. Pick it up on Amazon or Thrift Books. But this is a really good question. Out of the 5 here, I think this is my favorite one because I took a lot of time to think about this one. It says, what do you believe are 5 elements that make marriages work? Very interesting question. What do you believe are 5 elements that make marriages work? And so I took some time to think about this, wrote out kind of really a top 10 list of, me, I'm kind of an observer of a lot of different people, whether they be, quote, successful or, quote, failures, whatever. And so I came up with a pretty good sized list of some elements of success that make marriages work. And so, I could have come up with a lot longer of a list, but I tried to just narrow it down to, I think, are the 5 most important elements. And so what I came up with was, first and foremost, you have to have trust in each other. Second, respect for each other. Third, actively listening to each other. Fourth, mutual influence over each other. And 5, shared intimacy with each other. So again, those 5 elements that I came up with and I thought were the most successful elements to make a marriage work would be trust, respect, active listening, mutual influence. Some of the people might call this leadership, if you want to call it that. Mutual influence, leadership is influence. And the last one, shared intimacy with each other. I think those are my 5 elements that I've observed in my previous relationships and in the relationships of others that I think make for the most successful marriages. Not gonna lie, it was kind of difficult to get that down to just 5, but hey, reach out to me, connect with me, and tell me what you think by, posting a comment of your 5 elements that you think make a marriage successful, or tell me what you think should be potentially added or subtracted to my list that I made here. That's all good. We always love interacting with people in comments. Shoot me a text, send me an email, connect with me on social media, and tell me about your list of 5 elements that make a marriage successful. And last but not least, the last question that I'm going to go over here is question number 89, where it asks, what are the passions in life you would love doing, and which of those would be meaningful to you if I were to do them with you? And then it kind of says a little bit below that, togetherness in a relationship means being able to play, work, or serve together. I like this question too. I'm going to kind of take it from the perspective of somebody asking me, what are my passions in life? What do I love doing? And which of these things would be meaningful if I were to do them with you? So I think this is a good date question. Honestly, I'll probably use that a little bit on dates when I start doing that again. But this is another one I thought about for a bit, and I came up with one particular passion, or I guess experience, that has 3 different aspects to it that I am passionate about and would love to share the experience with my partner or potential partner. So, of course, if you know me, you can probably predict this, but it does involve eating and drinking. But I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into a better answer than just saying, like, I want to share the experience or passion for food and drink. So food is great. I'm a huge fan, but I want to experience the joys of cooking food with my partner, pairing that food with a nice wine or a beer, and then to sit down and enjoy eating the food with my future girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever may apply at the time. Those are 3 aspects of, cooking, pairing, and just enjoying all of that would be better with the right person, I think. And it's kind of a quality time experience, but yet awesome result from all that, from the cooking and the pairing with the wine or a beer, shout out beer, and just enjoying that with somebody, spending that quality time. And it's something that hopefully you two made together and you get to enjoy the reward together. So I think that's a really special moment. That's a passion of mine, is food and drink. I always love that. So what's your thing? That's another question that maybe you pause this podcast for a sec and think about it, or think about it during your lunch break. What's a passion of yours that's meaningful to you that you want to share with your partner? It's something that brings you joy, and just adding that other person in there enhances that experience. That can be something really special and a nice moment to share with somebody. So some interesting things to think about today. Like I said, I only covered 5 of these questions here today from the book, and it's got 101 questions in total. So I say get the book and have some more meaningful questions to ask yourself, or to ask a partner of yours, or maybe a potential partner. You can spark up some really good conversation, I think, and some thought-provoking conversation, which is always good to have. You know, maybe some of these that are here in the book you don't ask on like a first date, but they are some good questions at their core. And if you and your significant other are about to take that next step towards engagement, you know, the book is 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged by H. Norman Wright. Always good to just have questions for you to reflect on and think about, and also just to ask others people's questions. The unpaid ad for today is an ad for a shirt company called Buttercloth. Listen, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this so that hopefully you gents out there can maybe steal a little secret of mine. I have been told multiple times on dates that I've looked great, and honestly, it's not a huge secret. What I do is, all I have to do is, you know, get a nice pair of shoes, throw on a pair of jeans, and a Buttercloth shirt, and I'm good to go. I'm looking like, at least I have some fashion sense. They're great looking shirts, nice dress shirts, and you can just get like 4 or 5 Buttercloth shirts to choose from that can cover a wide variety of outfits. And then, like I said, wear some jeans and you are set. So steal my trick for when you're taking your lady out to a nice restaurant or something. The shirts are really soft too, actually. They have some kind of long grain cotton or something that they're made with. I don't know what it is. I just know that these shirts are worth having because of how nice that they look and feel. So check those out, Buttercloth. They were actually a company that was pitched on Shark Tank and backed by Robert Herjavec. So that's kind of cool. But really great dress shirts. They look good, they feel good, and you'll probably get some compliments on them, as I have in the past. So I highly recommend those. Make sure that you connect with us. We are on X at the SG Podcast. You can find these episodes on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube and Spotify. We appreciate that. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review. My mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. And if you don't necessarily like the podcast, hey, listen, it's all good. There's plenty of other podcasts out there to listen to, but I do hope that you choose to listen to us and that you enjoy it, that you're getting some value out of it. We enjoy recording it and producing it so that you get that value from listening to these episodes. I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Tim Chappell. Make sure that you share this episode with somebody so that we can get the message out there and impact somebody else's life in a positive way and add some value to them, just like we're doing with you. You never know what potentially one little nugget from an episode might change a person's life. You know, one of these questions might spark a really deep and meaningful conversation that you have with your partner, or somebody else maybe has with their partner. So think about that. Please share it. And thanks to Black Comet for producing this episode. Lots of work goes on behind the scenes to make this all happen. A lot of technological things that I am not capable of doing. So I'm always thankful that I don't need to handle that aspect of producing this podcast. But big thanks to Black Comet. There's unfortunately no official outro song today, since we have learned that we've been getting some copyright notifications. So we're trying to work around that. Please bear with us as we're figuring out this whole podcasting arena. We're working towards something like maybe our own outro music or transition music, background music, whatever. Some other solution that we don't have to involve any lawyers or have to deal with any kind of copyright restrictions. So if you know any music producers, then have them reach out. We'd appreciate that. It's fun starting this podcast and learning new things and adjusting and whatnot. We're always going to be making an effort to make the best shows possible here for you so that you get the most value out of listening, for sure. And so on that note, of course, thank you for listening, for sharing, for giving me feedback. Maybe ask some questions to your partner, significant other, or if you're single, you've now got some questions that you can maybe ask on some of your dates. Some good stuff in this book. Again, it's 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged by H. Norman Wright. And finally, as always, stay great and take care of each other.